It was just another day in lockdown. Isn't it always special when your child sit on the kitchen counter and talk to you while you are cooking or baking? One day they will spread their wings, leaving behind an empty nest. But this moment of enjoying this chocolate chip cookies with my kiddo, dunking it in milk and laughing and talking our heart would stay forever. Apart from the recipe, I'll also be sharing few mistakes that you might be making that causes your cookie to turn flat, overly sweet, too crispy, turn dome shaped without any cracks and lot more. So watch the video till the very end. I mean it, till the very end for every little tip to perfect your best eggless chocolate chip cookie recipe. Before I begin, it is absolutely essential to talk about the ingredients as this is the first mistake you might be making. First and foremost, it is essential to use only butter and nothing else. This is what would make your cookie rich and flavorful. Again, butter has to be softened and cubed down. By soften, what I mean is you should be able to make an impression on the butter easily using just your fingers. So add this to your mixing bowl followed by sugar. When it comes to sugar, we have to use caster sugar and brown sugar for this recipe. Look at the texture of the caster sugar here. It is smaller in size, making it easy for us to beat and dissolve with butter. You cannot do the same with granulated sugar. Brown sugar here is added for a caramelized flavor and color of the classic cookie. Apart from that, it also makes the cookie chewy. If you want to substitute it with caster sugar, you can very well do it, but your cookie won't be as chewy as the ones made with brown sugar. Now let us beat it really well until everything is combined and the butter is creamy, light and fluffy. Stay with me and I'll show you the transformation of the creaming process. So creaming the butter and sugar is important for the cookie to spread and take that rustic and rough look. Just look at the butter and sugar here. As you start beating, it resembles a crumbly texture. Keep beating and in few minutes you will observe that the sugar is starting to dissolve. Another thing that we foresee is not stopping at intervals. So stop, scrape the bowl well and continue beating so that everything mixes evenly. This is how the texture looks after a few minutes of beating. The butter and sugar is combined but it is not there yet. The butter is still not creamy. Let us beat it a bit longer. Please note, if you were to make a butter cookie or a sugar cookie recipe where you do not want the cookie to spread at all, you will stop at this stage. But in case of chocolate chip cookie where you want it to spread a little and develop a rough surface, you have to beat a little longer. So finally, after around 10 to 12 minutes of beating, this is how the butter and sugar now looks. The butter has become pale in color and so is creamy. Showing you once again, this is how we started, how it looks after a few minutes of beating and finally the consistency you want, which can be achieved after 10 to 12 minutes of beating. This process of creaming develops air pockets, which is where the egg sits. Instead of eggs today we are going to use milk. But before that, let us add the flavoring agent, which is vanilla essence, and let's beat it well. Finally, add the milk in 2 batches. Add half of the milk, beat well and then add the rest. If you add all the milk at once, what you are actually doing is collapsing the fluffy batter or the beautiful air pockets that you just created, and hence your cookie won't spread and you would get a dome shaped cookie. So make sure you add your milk in batches. Then finally it is time to incorporate the dry ingredients. For that, take a sieve and add your flour, baking powder and salt. Remember, it is always a better idea to measure by weight to be accurate, as too much flour can cause your cookies to dry out. If measuring by cups, spoon the flour, level it and then use. The next step is really crucial where most of us go wrong, which is accidentally over mixing the cookie dough. So please note here, once you add the flour, do not beat for long. Just mix until the dough starts clumping together. Over mixing the dough would result in flat cookies. So once it clumps, get rid of the hand mixer, add the chocolate chips, and using your hands mix it gently. Talking about chocolate chips, you can either use just the chocolate chips or chopped chocolate or both like I am doing here. Either way, it will be really good, but I would recommend using chopped chocolate because chips comes with a stabilizer that do not allow them to melt while baking. So it won't give you that melty, ooey, chocolatey effect while eating. And if using chopped chocolate, make sure you're using your favorite bar for best results as chocolate hardens upon cooling. So if you do not enjoy eating it plain on its own, you won't enjoy eating it in the cookie too. By the way, did you know you can use the same recipe to make a delicious eggless chocolate cookie cups as a dessert? The link for the same is in the description box below. Now once the cookie dough is ready, you can either choose to cling wrap it at this stage and store in the fridge for up to 2 to 3 days. When ready to bake, just take small portions and bake. Or you can also freeze the cookie dough batter for around 3 months. Or what you can do is take a baking tray, line it with parchment paper and divide the dough into 12 equal portions. At this stage, you can again freeze them for 3 months. Find the detailed instructions on our blog spicesandflavors.com. What I'm going to do is I'm going to refrigerate it for 24 hours. If you do not have that much time, then it is crucial that you chill it for at least 2 hours before baking. This is the biggest rookie mistake that we all make, which is to not chill the dough. Just to share an example, out of the 12 portions, I took out one portion and baked it directly without chilling. And as you can clearly see, the cookie is super flat, spread too much. This is because all the ingredients are warm at this stage. And when it hits the hot oven, everything spreads instantly as compared to when you place cold butter in the oven. Also, chilling the dough develops a nice pleasant taste as the flavors develop the longer it sits. Now after 24 hours of chilling, let's place it on a baking tray that is lined with the parchment paper. Since we have creamed the butter and sugar well and incorporated so much air into the batter, it is obvious that the cookie is going to spread while baking. So it is necessary that you leave adequate space between each for it to spread and hold its shape. Bake in a preheated oven of 180 degrees Celsius for 11 to 13 minutes until the sides are a little golden brown but the center remains pale and soft. The cookies will be soft once out of the oven and they will firm up as they cool down. The speciality of chocolate chip cookies is that they are crispy on the edges and soft at the center, so make sure that you are not over baking them. If you prefer crispy cookies and not such classic cookies, then you can bake it for a little longer. And on that note, I would like to add that once out of the oven and still warm, do remember to generously sprinkle it with some sea salt for that oomph factor. Now, chocolate chip cookies are meant to be rustic, but if you do not prefer this and want a round shape, then there is a tip for you guys, which is take any larger size cookie cutter and use them to round your cookies while they are still warm, that is straight out of the oven. Here is the comparison of rustic and round cookies for you. Also, if you see, I have used 2 different cookie tray here for baking. So many of you guys overlook this mistake, but another thing that you might be doing is using the same cookie tray for the second batch, which would make the cookie dough warm since the tray is hot from the previous batch. So the cookie dough might warm up even before it hits the oven, causing it to spread too much. So just avoid that. There is nothing like enjoying a warm and melty chocolate-scented cookie. Comment yes if you also love enjoying eating cookies straight out of the oven. And in our festive baking series, I'm going to share a fusion cupcake recipe next week. If that sounds interesting, do consider hitting the notification bell so you don't miss any update. Okay, before you leave, there is one more tip for you guys, which is about the storage instructions. You can store the baked cookies in an airtight container for up to 5 to 7 days. And as you all can see, I have also lined the base with a paper towel, which I think is absorbing all the moisture and helping the cookies to remain crisp even after, like, what, today is 6th day of baking. So even after so many days, the cookies are still good. So though this is the first time I'm trying this trick, so I will try it with some other cookie as well and give an update on our Instagram stories. So if you're not following us on Instagram, then make sure that you do, so that you do not miss any insiders baking tips. And whenever you want to enjoy them, and or rather what I like to do is I microwave it for 10 to 15 seconds and enjoy a warm and chocolatey cookie whenever my heart desires. As mentioned, more instructions on freezing and storing and many other baking tips on our blog at spicesandflavors.com, the link for which is in the description box below. This is the ultimate eggless chocolate chip cookie recipe that you must try. Even if you want to stick to your favorite recipe, by all means please do, but I hope the other tips shared in this video was helpful. If it was, do hit the like button and share it with all the home bakers around. That's it for this video. I'll see you soon in my next fusion cupcake recipe. Until then, take care. Bye bye.